Hey guys, it's Datamancer here, back for a little bit more iRacing, because why the hell not? Earlier I had connection problems, but those connection problems seem to have gone away, which is awesome. I'll be racing here in the Global MX-5 Cup with the lovely, obviously the lovely MX-5 Miata, ND, of course, here at Okayama International, which is presumably in Japan. Now, the last couple of times I've done this track have been a bit of a mixed bag. I personally think I had a lot more success in Phoenix than I have here, and I've yet to really figure out what the heck's wrong with why me and this track seem to be so incompatible. I think a lot of the speed in this track benefits from trail braking. I'm guessing that that's part of the issue, because I am not good at that, kind of in general, and also maybe even more specifically to iRacing. I felt like I got trail braking down pretty well in Assetto, though then I drove a whole... Oh, well, here's problem one. I have to calibrate my stuff really quick. Please hold. Okay, there. Brake was not calibrated. I was wondering why I was locking up when I felt like I was barely touching it. That's just calibration issue. I rebooted my computer. Thrustmasters need to be recalibrated every time you start your computer, so you just do that by pushing the pedal all the way in, so I just pushed the brake as hard as I could. Anywho, that was not good. That said, the last race I did, I thought went quite well. I was the 5th highest iRacer in the room, if you know what I mean. JK. I got 4th. I did not stream that one. The last one I streamed, however, went very poorly for me. Car feels really skatey right now. I'm kind of having trouble getting the speeds just so. That said, my last session when I set 4th, I actually did pull off my most recent fastest lap. That was not good. Into the apex, get on the gas. There we go. My best lap is now 1:01.1, which is, I think, pretty quick. My optimal is a 1:07, which would be great. I'd love to get into the ones. It seems like a lot of the really good racers around here drive consistently in the ones. I think it'd be neat to just do it one time. There have been a couple corners I mean, it's Friday, and I'm still experimenting with corners, and you gotta know that's a bad sign. Phoenix, man, by Wednesday, I had that whole track locked down. In my opinion, I felt like I was driving it the way I like to drive it, and it was working great. This track, I don't know what to say about this track. It just doesn't suit me, I guess. So many corners are between gears, I never quite know the right thing to do there. But I can't put my finger on it, because there's nothing about this track that feels overly technical. And yet I have a lot of trouble getting the corners just so. So once I warm up a little bit, though, usually I tend to find pace. That was terrible. Like, I guess I turned in too early. I'm honestly not certain what I did wrong there. This is a corner I'm still experimenting with. It seems like you want to try to let the car coast in really deep before you start braking. And look, I mean, I just tried it kind of half-assedly and took a 10th out. So I would say almost without a doubt there's time there. I've seen people take this corner a number of different ways, or this corner complex, those last two corners, but that's how I like to do it. That's how I did it when I set my fastest sector there. But it's hard to be consistent because wheel spin is a bit of a problem if you don't do it right, and apparently I don't do it right very often. There we go. Kind of hooked the tire on that curb, and that, well, was almost exactly as fast as the fastest I've ever done it, so that's pretty nice. Anyway, I will be participating in the 7 o'clock race, as the 6 o'clock race would not work for me for technical reasons. The 7 o'clock race is in 15 minutes, which is to say 7 o'clock is in 15 minutes. In 15 minutes... Nice. Real pro. You are witnessing a pro, ladies and gentlemen. The race itself will start, okay, 7 o'clock is in 14 minutes. Then we'll do 2 or 3 minutes of practice, which is sort of a staging practice. Then qualifying, which is 8 minutes long, and then the race. So 7:10 you can expect the race to start. And it is 6:46 right now. Pacific Standard Time, of course. Your time zone may vary. Yeah, I guess I could probably just start saying 10 after the hour, people would get it. But maybe I'll do that. Although, aren't there weird half-hour time zones? I swear I remember there being, like, at least one time zone where it was, like, only a half-hour different. Which, I mean, I already think time zones are pretty dumb. That's just really dumb. I guess time zones are dumb, except it's weird to talk about, you know, getting off work at midnight, and it's a day job, because midnight GMT is 5 o'clock here in the Pacific Northwest, 5 o'clock PM here in the Pacific Northwest. Okay. But I don't know why we're talking about time when we could be talking about race cars. Anything to talk about? F1's on the break. The saddest freaking month of my life. Hungaroring was pretty crazy. I don't know what to say about Max Verstappen. You guys, if you guys have been following me, which I don't know if anyone has, but whatever. You go back and watch my videos, you'll hear me talk a lot about F1. I'm a fan of Max Verstappen, and that's not something I've ever really denied, and it's pretty clear. Look at that lap. That is not, it's not a burner, but I mean, that's right on point. That's a 101.5. I mean, that's, if I can do that during the race pretty consistently, I will have a good race. But consistency is where I lack. Anyway, I'm a pretty big Max Verstappen fan. I'm also a Ricciardo fan. So I'm at a bit of an impasse with what happened with Verstappen this weekend. If you haven't heard, I feel like spoiler alert is probably unnecessary. It's the Friday after the race. It's almost been, well, it's been 5 days, so if you haven't seen the race by now, well, I guess you're not seeing it or something. But if you're really that worried about it, mute your stuff. But Max Verstappen in T4 on the Hungaroring, which is a, I mean, if you can watch my video of the Hungaroring, you'll know what corner it is. It's a left-hander with a blind apex, and Max took the inside and tried to stay to the inside of Ricciardo, and in the process of braking for the corner, locked up and basically slammed right into the side of him. The funny part about a lot of the criticism I've been hearing about Max Verstappen is that as a sim racer, I've done that exact same thing several times, and I'd do it a lot more if I wasn't extremely careful. And it's hard to be careful when you're driving right on the razor's edge. Oh my god. Okay. That was terrible. See, like that. You know, it doesn't take much. Oh, wow. Drift mode, engage. So he hits Ricciardo, and Ricciardo said some shit that I kind of feel like was maybe out of line. Okay, out of line's wrong. If I had a teammate, and presumably, I'd like to think I'd respect my teammate, you know? I'd like to think that. But anyway, Ricciardo kind of called Max immature and sort of lambasted him for making the mistake before he ever even had a chance to talk to him. I mean, Ricciardo was talking shit on the radio. He got out of the car and started talking shit to the media. He was rightfully mad. There's no one, I don't think anyone denies that he had every right to be upset, especially given that he has won at the Hungaroring before, and Ricciardo can only count, as far as I know, on one hand how many races he's won, so naturally the Hungaroring would be a place that he'd absolutely want to drive, and if I'm not mistaken, it was his first win was at the Hungaroring. I mean, if in a year's time, or however long's time, I get a chance to race MX-5s at Phoenix, and I've only got one shot to do it, and in the first lap someone crashes me out, I'm going to be pissed. Phoenix was my first win here on iRacing. You know, I love that track. I love that track in part because I won there. So I get Ricciardo, you know, but he started talking an awful lot of shit before he ever had a chance to talk to Max. The first thing they do, the media surely just jumped right on top of him as soon as he got out of the car. Max Verstappen, that is. And the first thing he does is basically publicly apologizes. He immediately took fault, and that kind of thing. So before he has any chance to do a goddamn thing, you know, change out of the extravagantly sweaty clothing, you know, grab a drink of water, do anything, he's already having to apologize for something. Then he's going to go back to the green room or whatever and start hearing about all the shit Ricciardo said. And you go, well, that's not very friendly, and that could have probably been resolved a little bit more calmly. What I kind of come back to, though, I've only been watching Formula 1. This is my second year watching Formula 1, and as much as I say, oh, you should respect your teammate, let's run it down, shall we? Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg was nothing but the news last year. There was nothing to talk about except for how much those guys hated each other. Kimi Räikkönen and Sebastian Vettel. Kimi was pretty pissed off at the Hungaroring this week because the Ferrari wouldn't let him pass Vettel, even though Vettel had damage. And to be fair, that was a good strategy. Hats off to Scuderia Ferrari for the 1-2. Yeah, that's right, spoiler alerts. But I mean, you know, Kimi's like kind of like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. That was his race to win, I think. Well, that's the big question, is if they had let him past Vettel, would he been... Well, he held off Hamilton just fine behind Vettel. Why wouldn't he have been able to hold off Hamilton in front of Vettel? Then we've got the lovely new anger issues in Red Bull. Force India, Sergio Perez and Esteban Ocon have had... That's right? Yeah. Or is it Carlos Sainz? Damn it. Whatever. Those two guys have been fighting as they crashed into each other a bunch. Oh, hang on. Alright. Minor interruption with the kids, no big deal. You've got Force India hates each other. I guess Renault. It doesn't seem like Hülkenberg hates Palmer, but Palmer ain't going to be there for much longer anyway, so what does it matter? I seem to remember hearing that Pascal Wehrlein and Ericsson at Sauber were getting into it with each other at one point in one of the races. Because they're like always in the back racing each other. There's like nothing else to do. That car's so god-awful. For good reason. It's using a very old... It's using last year's Ferrari engine, which is... I don't know how they got boned into starting an F1 season with an old engine, but so be it. My point is that I would think if I had a teammate in iRacing or in any racing game or in any racing context, I would want my teammate, as much as I could help, to be somebody I trusted to do well and somebody who I respected. And even if it wasn't somebody I chose necessarily, I would do my damnedest to try to build that sort of trust relationship. So I don't know what it is about professional racing, or if that's something unique to professional racing, or if I'm just ignorant to the world, but these guys fight like old married couples, and they do it loudly and like in front of the media, and it's like, holy cow. That tripped me out. So that sucks for Max, it sucks for Ricciardo, and then the double penalty, the first penalty being that Verstappen crashed into Ricciardo and took Ricciardo out. Red Bull gets boned at number 1. Then they give Max Verstappen a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. Red Bull gets boned to number 2. So the real loser in all of that was just Red Bull. and they're thinking that Verstappen probably would have been on the podium. I think he would have gotten second place. Well, actually, with Kimi holding him off, it's hard to say. But if he had gotten past Kimi and they had done the same, Ferrari had done the same strategy, it's possible Verstappen could have beaten Vettel with Vettel's seemingly somewhat minor and yet still there, so, you know, statistically significant steering issues. But I thought that was pretty interesting. Speaking of rivalries, forget about inter-team rivalries, how about intra-team? Dude, so Nico Hülkenberg, who has one of the 3 parts of a Triple Crown in racing. He was one of the guys in one of the cars that won the 24 Hours of Le Mans the other, you know, last year or the year before, I can't remember. Oh, not into second yet, dummy. Nico Hülkenberg on T1 of the Hungaroring. And the media didn't pick up on this all that much, and I thought that was kind of silly. At least it didn't seem like they did. In T1, he gets up next to Romain Grosjean and basically drives him off the road. I do not think it was intentional. I actually kind of like Nico Hülkenberg. You know, he seems like a pretty good racer and a kind of an interesting guy. But he did something pretty shitty, and he drove Grosjean off the road. And he did this as it worked out right then, basically right in front of Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen saw the whole damn thing about, you know, 30 meters in front of him. And quite a ways later in the race, it would appear that K-Megs there decided to exact some revenge, which I don't really encourage, but it does make for some good watching, some good entertainment, and basically ran Nico off the road. Speaking of running fools off the road, get out of here. Give him gap. Oh, well, that's one way to do it. Nice. No worries, bud. Sorry, I just had to give him a hard time. That was pretty crappy, but I mean, it's practice. Who cares? No, so K-Meg runs Hulk off the road. And so, during one of the post-race interviews, which, unfortunately for my dumb unilingual American ass, was in a different language that I don't understand, K-Meg's getting interviewed by somebody in some language, and Hulk basically comes over and starts giving him a hard time about running him off the road, as racers are wont to do. And note that it wasn't that Grosjean got in Nico's face, it was that Nico got in K-Meg's face. To be fair, Nico's was kind of an accident. Hulk's was K-Meg's was definitely intentional. What am I doing? I'm not concentrating, I'm talking, but whatever. And K-Meg's response, as I imagine most of you have heard, was to, quote, "suck my balls." He says this with the camera 3 inches from his face. I love F1. God. Sometimes they're like children. They're like children that really happen to race quite well. And it's just great entertainment. But that pretty much cements it. Oh. I think I did that corner right. Cool. I think that pretty much cements a bit of a rivalry between Renault and Haas F1. Kind of hard to imagine that there wouldn't be one. And it comes at a good time, too, because Renault, or at least Nico, is starting to show pace, quite a bit of pace, and Haas is also having a pretty nice year. That wasn't great. I turned in too early for that corner. So that ought to be exciting, but man, it's going to be a dry spell. Okay. Now we go into 3 useless minutes of practice, or 2 useless minutes of practice, because you literally can't do an outlap. Well, here, if you really are on your pony, you can do an outlap and a lap. But, so it must be 3 minutes, but let's just say it's pretty hard. Because the timer's already ticking, so it's like by the time you get in racing, it's usually you got about 2 minutes left, and at a 1 minute and 1 second lap, you really you can kinda do it. But it's, yeah, look at that, 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Watch, they'll black flag me for speeding in the pits. Well, that's what I get for trying to get out in time to actually do a lap. I guess I could just, you know, do an out lap. Alright guys, so qualifying's coming up. I know I've been nice and chatty. At least it's nice to me. I assume half the reason you're here is to listen to my dumbass talk. For qualifying, I'm going to get a lot quieter. I need to concentrate. Oh, look at that. You brake right about at the green. Oh, yeah. That's how you do that. Okay. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start doing that for the race, which means new techniques implemented right before race time. Not my favorite thing in the world to do. Not what I would consider a wise decision by traditional logic. Typically, you do crazy things in practice or new things in practice, and you do what you did in practice for the race. Too far to the inside, like every time I do it. Oh, that's how you catch it, boys. I was just drifting in a Assetto Corsa earlier for fun. I get to go to Formula D tomorrow, here in the lovely state of Seattle. The state of Seattle. Ha! The state of Washington, at Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, which is up by Seattle, is what I meant. Hopefully that fan that I just turned on doesn't come through the mic, but it is so hot right now. I'm not going to tell you how hot it is because I live in Seattle and you guys will just make fun of me. Okay, that's the checkered flag, so... Yep. Alright, time to qualify. But yeah, I like drifting. I'm not as big a fan as I was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. But I do enjoy it. I enjoy watching it. I'm still trying to learn how to do it. It's a lot harder than it looks. Tokyo Drift is the best one, and you all goddamn well know it. Alright, this is just an out lap. That's why I'm not flogging it. Well, okay, I'm flogging it a little bit. But I gotta take it easy. Everything counts now, so I gotta be right on top of my game. Off tracks and spins and crashes and all that fun shit counts for all this, so I gotta not get any off tracks here either. Oh, that was dumb. I gotta not shift up into third for that corner. It's kind of the same either way. It's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But if it's the same, then I'd rather just not shift. Okay, here we go. Lap 1 of qualifying. I get 2 laps. Got to get 1 clean one in as fast as I can. Okay, nice. Not great, but not bad. Oh, I shifted. Okay. Can't get into the apex quite. And there I lost 2/10. Possibly to shifting, possibly to just bad lines. Oh, I chickened out, dude. I think I could have been 100% on right there. Actually, I didn't lose a lot of time, though, so I can't even complain. Alright, here we go. That was a good lap. I'm happy with that lap. I'm so happy with that lap. little late on the gas there, but I got a little nervous. I kind of went a little deep. Had to counter steer just a little bit, but man, that worked. That works so much better the way I'm doing it now. These sector times don't update when I get a fastest sector. They only update if I put down a fastest overall lap, which is why you keep seeing 2/10, 2/10, 2/10. Because now the way I'm doing it is 2/10 faster, but I got to chain it all together with a decent lap. Which, not counting my chickens, but this lap looks like it could be my fastest overall. If I get this corner right. Which I didn't. Too much wheel spin. So that's, yeah, it was already toast. Yeah, it was already toast. But hey, still, that's 2 good laps in a row. Alright, let's see how we did. I believe I am the 7th. I am the 9th highest I-rated person here, and right now I'm sitting in 7th. Something I've noticed lately is iRacing keeps putting me in splits with guys that are like, it seems like just way better. It seems like on average the races I do are with guys that are just way better than I am as far as iRating is concerned. And, well, it's interconnected. They're also just better than me. Did somebody just disconnect? No. He just put in a burner of a lap. So right now I've qualified last with a good lap. I mean, a 101.206 in any other split would be top 5. And I'm going to probably end up starting in dead last, which basically means pick up the pieces. Hopefully people will crash. I mean, that sounds selfish. It is selfish. That's by design. Jesus. I only wish I knew what the heck I was doing so wrong, because I just don't. It's obvious. Look at this. There's a second in this lap that I'm not. I'd love to know where it is. When you're losing a second, you're doing something really wrong. Probably 1 corner, maybe 2. And I don't have the foggiest idea what it is. And it's... part of it's chaining together all of my best sectors, which would probably at this point now be down to a 101 minute and like 1 minute point 7 or 8. Which still would have put me in fucking 8th qualifying. I mean, man oh man. That kind of kicks my ass. Okay, for the uninitiated, we have 2 minutes and 25 seconds till race time. Then we grid. 2 minutes, up to 2 minutes of waiting period at that point for everybody to click the big grid button. And once everyone's in, we go. Or if the 2 minutes expire, then we go. So race time in less than 4 minutes. You're going to take that Wii, take it now. Yeah, I can't figure this track out. Honestly, I'm not going to miss it when it's gone. It's not that it's not fun. It's honestly more that I can't get the speeds that I want to get, and I keep doing it over and over, and I'm really not. The best I've done is on T2, the turn 2-3 complex, where I was able to find out a way to make, you know, another 2/10. Is the only great development I've made on this track since about Monday, or maybe Tuesday. And that disappoints me. That doesn't make me happy. I mean, it is what it is. But, like, I'm not evolving. My time has gone from a 101, probably 4 or 5 on Tuesday to a 101.2 here on Friday. And it's like, at the rate I'm going, I'll have just broken into the 1 minute mark, which would have qualified me at that rate up right about here in 8th. Nothing to get too excited about. The problem now is that these guys are able to show so much more pace than I am that, in all honesty, they'll probably just run away, and I'll be alone, fighting hard for second or third to last. But that's racing. That's racing for Sauber. So we're gonna pretend we're Sauber racers today, and we're just gonna do the best goddamn job we can. And maybe we'll get lucky and pull off a 6th or 7th. There tends to be some crashing. This is a pretty tight track, so people have a tendency to crash, and you do push hard here, and putting it into the wall is a very real thing. I've done it. That was how one of my races went here earlier this week. I think I streamed that one. Alright, once everyone grids up, the lights will show up, and once it turns green, we are racing 15 laps at Okayama International. The race will naturally take about 15 minutes, because math. Delphina, I remember that person. It's not good when I remember you, typically, but I might have just remembered because it's kind of a peculiar name. No offense, and I'm, again, not one to talk... I say that sometimes, that's a peculiar name. I have a peculiar name, so I'm not trying to talk shit in any way, shape, or form, but I'm just calling it what it is. I've never heard the name Delphina before. Not common in the United States. It's interesting that it seems like I get put in splits with a lot of Spanish-speaking people, which presumably is Mexico. Perhaps California, or... I mean, Spanish-speaking people can be from anywhere, I know, but just playing the odds here. I find that perhaps a bit odd. But then again, I guess people in America don't care about car racing because we're dumb. So, maybe that's what it is. I mean, you guys care, which is why you guys are awesome. I care. I think that gives me like half an awesome point. I don't know how many points it takes to make any difference, but yeah. There we go, 9th just gridded in. That's probably everybody. I thought there was a 12th, but he must have dropped. Or he's starting from the pits. Too much wheel spin at the start. I kind of went stupid and just smashed the accelerator, which isn't really a good strategy for launching. Oh, okay, that guy's had a moment. I thought that was about to be 2 places if he didn't take me with him. Being too wide through there is a nervous thing. I've also been too wide through there, and that's a nervous thing too. Oh, good. Felipe is just misusing the fact that there's no pass there, dude. You're boxed in. What are you gonna do? Oh shit! No! Well, he could just wait for me to screw up. That's. Well, that's what happens when you think about somebody else's race and not your own. That is wildly irritating. Sorry, guys. That might be a race over. Well, or not. Well, we're not in last anymore. Felipe overdrove himself, which, given how he was kind of try-harding it a minute ago, I kind of figured he might. First lap chili tires. I didn't say it. I usually say it, and I forgot this time. That's why I say it, is because I need to remind myself, but I didn't say it, and I didn't think about it. I want my relatives, please. I have to figure out how to get that to default to on for the race. That's something I can handle after the race. For now, I have a 3.5-second gap to somebody who's probably on average faster than I am, so I don't know how that math's going to work out, but I'm going to do my best. And he's got draft, and that's the biggest loss. That's really... It's not my race over because they also are going to battle for position, and that slows them down, but... That's embarrassing, you know. Oh, too fast. I knew that was too fast as soon as I did it. Keep the revs high and sink it because you can. And if you can keep them high, you don't have to accelerate up to high. And if you're not accelerating, you're not putting a lot of torque load on the tires, and they're not so likely to slide out. The rear's not as likely to slide out on you. Your best move there, it seems, is just to stay really high and sink a gear. Okay. We are not gaining on Roman. That blows. Even though I'm turning... Last lap was pretty decent. This lap's looking like it's going to be pretty decent. But draft matters a lot here, and especially in the Miatas. I mean, that's kind of the Miata's bread and butter. Oh, man, I fucked up. And that's the cost of fucking up. Losing concentration for just a minute costs you a race. It's also why you don't see a lot of guys live streaming iRacing. Or, well, I don't... That's not strictly speaking true, but the big streamers out there, your Super GTs, Jimmy Broadbent, Simpit. I don't know that William Marsh even plays iRacing, but I'm actually not certain one way or the other with Sim Racing Paddock. But you don't see those guys live stream iRacing. Maybe I shouldn't either. Maybe I should start doing videos, recordings, and then talk over them afterwards. It's not the part about it being live, it's the live commentary. I'm sitting here thinking about what I'm going to say and stuff. Come on. It just would not turn in. I'm just overdriving it. I'm probably really hashing my front tires. So now what we're doing... In case some of you have never been in the position of being terrible before, we're waiting for somebody else to make a mistake. Now, it's always nice to get a mistake where it's like, I get a free position, or 2, or 3, or 10. But the mistake we're actually kind of more looking for is for somebody who's fast to suddenly lose a bunch of time without breaking their car too badly, and who isn't too fast. I know this is like a total scenario, but the idea is like, if they can come back here toward me, then I can draft with them and they can hopefully tow me up there. It looks like I just gained a little bit on Roman. I'm kind of a little hazy on what the time was last time around, but I might have just gained a couple tenths on him. That's nice, but at that rate I won't even catch him by the end of the race. Not particularly long races, so mistakes are extremely costly, and my iRating is going to get a punch in the nuts for this one. That's a lot of red in relative. I'm overdriving every corner. Why sink it? Why sink it? Fuck. I don't know what my deal is today, but... That's better. That's a little bit more correct, although the time betrays the fact that I think that was more correct than usual. Well, what good can I say about this race? My safety rating will improve, assuming I don't do anything too boneheaded all by myself, which would be ridiculous. But I've only got the one off, and who doesn't love a good safety rating bump? But, jeez. Like last race I did, they put me with a bunch of Class A guys, and I'm a Class D. I mean, I'm no one special. I really just don't understand the matchmaking process. If I'm good within my category, can't I keep racing within my category and do good against people until I kind of work my way up? I don't know, maybe my iRating is just sort of inflated at the moment, and they're trying to bring it down before they... I don't know. Maybe group doesn't matter all that much. It seems like, or class doesn't matter all that much. It seems like it does. They paywall everything, or they content wall everything behind what class you're in. Oh, jeez. Like, moving up in iRating doesn't give you access to new content. Moving up in class does, and, well, and busting out your wallet. But moving up in class does, so, you know, I really don't understand why they keep doing this to me. I mean, that's pretty lame. Why am I bitching about hard competition? I should be thrive. I mean, this is where I can thrive, but the problem is my class does betray the fact that I am a noob, which is not some great secret, I'd tell anyone. But it's like if they know that I'm a noob, and they know that my class indicates that I may be inclined to spin out or whatever, that I just don't have the seat time, frankly, and they put me with these guys that run consistently faster than I do. It's like if I run a perfect race, which is not something I do very often, well, right now I'd call it about, at least here anyway, I'd call it about 50-50. In Phoenix, I was surprisingly reliable, which is part of the reason why I was able to do so well. Also, they didn't keep matching me with freaking aliens. These guys aren't aliens, they're just much better than I am. But, so I spin, and now I'm all alone. And I'm going to continue being alone for the rest of the race. There's no doubt in my mind now. One of these guys now could spin, and they'd still be ahead of me. Yeah, that's maybe not true. But, alright, I'll stop bitching now. I mean, I'm disappointed, obviously quite disappointed in how this is turning out for me, but, there's always more racing after this. Always a chance to try to redeem myself, but it's funny, and this is the correlation I'm starting to see, and I like streaming on YouTube, but it seems like my stream videos, my stream races go so much worse, typically, than my not stream videos. Hey, I just passed somebody for position because they went to the pits. Freebies! I'm the 9th best iRacer in here, and I'm in 8th place right now. Okay, let's look at this in a positive light. I might actually gain iRating from this. I don't think I will. I think you gotta be in the top 6 or 7 before you can even start talking about gaining iRating. But I won't lose much. But that's the thing. They put me in a race where I'm the 9th best iRacer. They say you have to be basically in the top 6 in order to gain iRating. I think that's probably pretty close to accurate. In a 12-man race, you kind of got to be in the top half to expect to gain iRating. But since you're below, you're in the lower half as far as skill is concerned. If you get below the top 6, you won't lose much iRating. So I just keep driving, and my iRating never really changes much, assuming I don't get dead last or, you know, actually have a miracle and do well. But it seems like an odd system. Okay, I am only 4 seconds off of Roman now. I don't know what happened to him, but he must have had a moment, because I was 6 seconds. It's possible he's struggling. It's possible he has damage. And we only have 3 laps to go, so if I'm going to catch him, it's got to be very soon, because getting up on his bumper is one thing. Getting around him is a whole nother thing. And short of being a little bit lunatic, I don't think there's anything I'm going to be able to do to make it happen fast. And I don't do that lunatic shit. I've raced with guys that do that, and they make me very angry. You might have seen some of those videos. There we go. I've been trying to remember what I learned on Driver 61, which, if you guys are trying to learn how to race well, stop watching me for one. Jesus. Watch me for entertainment, not to learn how to do this shit, because fucking hell. Driver 61, very cool thing. I know it's got a terrible name. I don't know why they called it that, but it's a good thing. They say when you're coming into a corner, look to the apex. When you get to the apex, look to the exit. And if I actually force myself to do it, it makes for some nice... you go... Like they say, you go where you're looking. It's one of those things where it seems so obvious, but especially with these games, these simulations, sorry there iRacing, these simulations, services, whatever, there's so much shit on the screen that you're looking at your relative, and you're looking at the relative to other racers, you're looking at your deltas, and it's easy to lose track of the track. Or, you know, even if you do turn, like, all the UI crap off, which is not a bad idea, I don't think anyone thinks that's a terrible idea, other than, I mean, if you're an otherwise good driver. Like, I took another second out of him. But then if you start looking at the other cars that are around you, you can't be staring at them, you've got to be looking at your corners. They say race the track, not the driver, which is a silly saying because that doesn't always work out, but I think their point is that if you're in lemming mode, which I do every now and again, target fixation, you'll follow him right off the track, or something else dumb, you know. Did I overdrive that? Not any worse than I always do. Not any worse than I usually underdrive it. 42, half a second slow. I can only hope that Roman's seen me coming in his relative and in his mirror and is gonna panic, but on the last lap, yeah, I don't know. He's the only one I have any hope at catching, and it's a very, very slim hope. It requires him to screw up. Braking too early there, but I'm a bit of a coward. That corner is just... Well... Do we like them apples? No, not much. Yeah, I'm braking too early. I'm braking like I used to, or like I've normally practiced. I did the advanced technique in qualifying, and it got me a very good lap. Almost on the back of that sector alone. But I guess I'm not feeling confident enough with it to do it in the race. Anyway, one corner left to go, and that is another mediocre, disappointing race at Okayama. Sorry, that's a bummer. I'm not trying to be a bummer, but I don't love this track. It's alright, but it's not my favorite.
There's the flag, it's over.
Well, guys, I know that wasn't the most exciting video you've ever seen, or I've ever done, even. But that is another race at Okayama. If you liked it, do what you do. If you really liked it, do something other than that, or whatever. I hope to see you guys for the next race, and have a nice evening.